Hold on, I think I got to reclaim something for y'all. One sec.
What's up, fellas? Can y'all hear me?
Yes. How are
you? Yeah, we hear you. What's going on, Jay?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, I got in here so early. I was like, damn, they already started. But yeah, man, just want to say shout out to you guys. You guys have came a super far long way with everything you've done for EYL Market Mondays. So in light of that, would you guys just be able to talk about the first investment you ever made, whether it be traditional real estate, stocks, a lemonade stand? Just what was your first thing and you're like, all right, this is an investment. I want my money to work for me.
That's an excellent
great question, man. Great question.
The first investment I ever made, I was 18 years old in prep school. Shout out to IMG Academy. I was in prep school in Florida, one of the best basketball schools in the country. And being that I was in prep school, I was like a fifth year senior. You have a lot of time on your hands when you kind of, you don't really go to school too much. It's like they kind of make up classes for you just to kind of like have something to do. But you play basketball pretty much the whole day. So I had a lot of time on my hands, and I was always interested in finance even back then. So I didn't have money to invest. I didn't even know how to invest. So the first investment that I did, I can't front, I bought Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Not only did I buy the book, I actually brought, at that time, it was like cassette tapes. So I brought the whole package. I think it was like
8 of them, right?
Yeah, it was like cassette tapes, a manual, a book, a workbook, all of that. I forgot how much it cost. Probably like $800 back then, something like that. But that was a great investment because no matter how you feel about Robert Kawasaki, he said some crazy things as of late, and we kind of see his true character. But my brother Wallow 267 said something that was very poignant. Don't beef with the information. You don't have to like somebody to learn from them. Mm-hmm. And I can't front, like that book, that whole course was something that really helped change my mindset and educated me on a lot of different things when I started to look at money differently. And that set me on the path ever since. So that was my first investment. And that's why I always say invest in your education. Don't be cheap on your education, because the education is the only thing that's really going to save you in this world. So, I practice what I preach. I paid for that, which would in today's time, I guess, would be like considered a course. I paid for that when I was 18 years old, and I studied it. And I still remember a lot of those things to this day. So that's my first investment.
Yo, that's crazy. And I'm gonna give Mike his credit right here. Shout out to Mike, our partner. It was very similar. So that was the first investment I made too. I remember I had just graduated college. This is probably like 2005. So Shao, you probably still in prep school at the time, or maybe not. So we were talking. We were sitting at Jamal's house, and we were trying to figure out a business we could start together. I think you were there. We were talking about trying to get a cold stone together. We were going to do a cold stone, and then we were talking about it. And then I remember Mike was talking in a language that I had never heard him speak before, and he was talking about business and investing. And I'm like, yo, where did this come from? Mm-hmm. And he had told me he read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And after that night, I said, all right, that's it. He inspired me to get that book and read it and learn from it. And from there, I made my first investment in the stock market, which was my first company I bought was Apple. And it was $85. And I think they were about to announce the iPhone, or there was some rumors that they were going to come out with a phone. And so I scrambled up enough money. I was a TA in Pleasantville, New York, and I scrambled up enough money to buy like 5 or 6 shares. And I was like, all right, bet. This is great. So that was my first investment in the stock market. And Rich Dad Poor Dad was the first investment in myself.
But you got to put it in perspective. That's $85. People will say like Apple's like at 100.
Yeah, well, it's been split a few times now.
It's been split like five. It's been split like
five times, right?
So
right, like 5 times. So
that's the equivalent of like it being $5
right now. Yeah. It was crazy, and it was crazy because I'll never forget. I had bought Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I bought Business Week, and I was like, it inspired me. Like, you know what? I need to learn more. It wasn't something that I learned in my household. My brothers weren't really familiar with it. You and you and Jamal were familiar with it, and Mike was coming in contact with this type of information. I was like, I need to step my game up, and not just worry about like my profession. I need to worry about investing as well. And so I had bought Business Week, and inside that Business Week, I had learned about obviously Apple. I learned about China Mobile. I learned about Baidu, and there was another company. But all those companies came from the same magazine, and so I was like, all right, these are the companies I'm going with. And I did well. And then obviously 2009 happened with with the market. Well, 2008 happened with the market like tanking, and I was like, ah man. So that was the first lesson from my first investment. All right, be patient, stay the course, which I didn't know then. Obviously, I know now.
Yeah, and that information that it was hard to even get good information. Like even books were word of mouth. Because if you look back at that time when Rich Dad Poor Dad was good and popular, there were hundreds of other books that were terrible. So that square about being an entrepreneur versus owner versus investor shaped me forever. So that one was critical. And No BS Time. Let me look it up. No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs by Dan Kennedy. Kudos to my guy who introduced me to it. So when you hear the title, you're like, I don't need a book about time management. But the truth is, like, how you manage the time in your business is how ultimately you're going to make money. The thing that it taught me, though, is the habits of people that are poor. Mm-hmm. So he has an entire breakdown. Like when I do business with people, this is what I look for. Like if a person misses the first meeting, even by 1 minute, won't do business with them. And I'm like, that's harsh, but it's very poignant, because if I can't count on you on the first interactions to show up, when it's really crunch time, we have something big, you can end up ruining the company or the deal. So that book shaped how I did. And that's what so I got that book in 2007. That started the no email. Even on sales calls, I would group my sales calls together. I didn't believe in doing one-on-one calls. And then in 2007, Tim Ferriss's book, 4 Hour Work Week, fundamentally changed how I thought about doing business as well and doing things at scale. So those are, like, knowledge-wise, 3 books that had the greatest impact on me and probably always will.
Yeah. Another book that helped me out a lot was How to Make Money in Stocks by William O'Neill.
That's great. That's so slept on.
Good one.
Oh my God, that's slept on.
It's a real easy to read book for beginners. And it gave me a lot of information. And then that led me to Investors Business Daily. A lot of people know about Wall Street Journal, New York Times, but not a lot of people know about Investors Business Daily. And that's something that is extremely, extremely valuable if you are interested in really becoming a real, like, solid investor. The information in there is really, really A1.
Life changing.
Yeah. So
you know what?
So yeah,
that's another one. Another one that I had was Who Moved My Cheese. That's like a really, really easy book. It's like 87 pages, but it just breaks down different types of mindsets. So Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. That was my second book. Those are good books though, Shadi, that you named. Solid ones. Jason, that was a great question, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, that's an amazing question, man. Took us down a trip down memory lane.
Yeah, man. I'm having flashbacks.
I appreciate it though, because I think some of the best investments that you can make are the intangibles. And I think we get too caught up on, all right, what's the quickest play? What's the quickest way? But if you change your mindset, everything just kind of opens itself up. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, and for real, you can get lucky. That's why I always tell people all the time, they're like, what's the play? What's the play? You can make $1 million by luck. Invest in Dogecoin a year ago and you're a millionaire. Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's not sustainable, because it's like now the worst thing that can happen to you is you make a lot of money and you don't know how you made it.
Mm-hmm.
Because now you're
fear
nervous.
And pressure to come with that.
Yeah, now you're nervous. Now you're scared because deep down in your heart, you can't duplicate that. You can't duplicate that. Eventually, your money's going to run out. So, because you don't know how to invest, you just got lucky. So this is why we try to educate you and try to, like, teach people actually how to fish, how to invest. So reading and learning is extremely important, because, like, it's one thing just to get a stock tip or just to, like, what's the newest crypto to buy. But eventually, you're not going to have Earn Your Leisure. You're not going to have Ian Dunlap. You're not going to have Wall Street Trapper. At one point, you're going to have to just figure things out by yourself. It's better to learn that way. If you ever need to just rely on yourself, you got the tools.
And the confidence that comes, like, whether you guys that are watching, like how I deliver it, like how my approach, one thing for sure, I believe in this shit. And I'm confident in it. That comes from time. And we're just trying to give you the same thing. Like, no matter who comes around, when it comes to that crystal ball, you see the little pink background, it's illuminating at night. You have to have your own version of the crystal ball. So you, regardless of what happens, any circumstances, you can get buckets in your field or genre. That's it. If you lean on somebody for too long, they can end up taking it from you. Go ahead.
They're asking what's the name of the time management book again.
I should know this off the top of my head. No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs by Dan Kennedy.
Oh, yo, shout out to Saya. It's already in the chat. Appreciate it. Jay, appreciate you. Thank you.
Probably the greatest book on time management and business I've ever read. And you got so on my bookshelf, there are certain books that I never let anybody borrow. That's next to Money Master the Game.